بس إذا جوي راح تصير ما يبكون عليه ب11 أيلول وما يشوفوه كبير راح يكون نزهة بالنسبة له. راح يكون نزهة حقيقية وراح يتذون وراح يدفعون ثمن لا يتخيلوا.
Saddam was asleep when the bombs hit and afterwards couldn't find his own reading glasses. But why did the Iraqi leader, who usually reads smoothly off a teleprompter, speak haltingly from notes? Although he mentions the date, March 20th, U.S. officials say he may have recorded several versions in preparation for just such an attack. U.S. officials say this case was not disinformation to shake up the regime, like rumors earlier this week that Deputy Prime Minister Tariq Aziz had defected. But it is a technique the U.S. uses to force officials to appear publicly so they can be more easily targeted.
Who was this man on Iraqi TV tape denouncing Bush Jr. as a criminal? He looked like Saddam Hussein, but a more subdued version, one with unfamiliar glasses, reading listlessly from a lined pad, not the teleprompter the Iraqi president favors.
Basra. But the Pentagon's campaign is not aimed at wiping out the Iraqi military. All-out war if they took out Saddam Hussein themselves.
Denouncing Bush Jr. as a criminal. He looked like Saddam Hussein, but a more subdued version, one with unfamiliar glasses, reading listlessly from a lined pad, not the teleprompter the Iraqi president favors.
The news that American soldiers had been not only captured, but executed, infuriated the troops. Appeal for Iraqis to fight back, and his television network aired remarkable footage of the Iraqi president strolling through a Baghdad neighborhood, followed by a small but enthusiastic crowd. Was it really Saddam? It was the first week of April, and still the question remained, was he dead or alive?
Intelligence officials say it appears to be Saddam Hussein. If it is Saddam, it would be his first public appearance in years. But when was the tape made? And does this prove Saddam survived that devastating attack on his bunker the night the war began?
And what about weapons of mass destruction? Was Saddam hoarding them in Baghdad, preparing to make a last stand? The things that they're worried about most is a group called Saddam's Martyrs, a tough, tenacious fighting force that American and British soldiers have met before. Here is Sarah James.
Founded by Saddam's son, Uday, after the first Gulf War, the Fedayeen undergo terrorist-style training at a camp south of Baghdad. Expert estimates put their numbers at anywhere between 15,000 and 60,000. They are well-armed, well-trained, and well-paid by Saddam's regime.
What you have here in Syria that will result in more U.S. Marine casualties.
On the outskirts of the city, the 507th Maintenance Division, a small convoy of cooks, mechanics, and supply clerks, got caught in a deadly ambush. It's been a very troubling morning.
Iraqi President Saddam Hussein has placed 3 trusted allies and one of his sons in charge of the country's defense. According to American sources, he's going into deep hiding beginning today.
As they begin their march northward toward Iraq. But first, though, the latest on the showdown with Iraq. Saddam Hussein's #1 son said that if anybody goes into exile, it ought to be President Bush. Independently of his father, Uday Hussein today rejected Mr. Bush's demand that he, his brother, and the Iraqi president leave Iraq by 4 a.m. Baghdad time on Thursday. If U.S. troops attack, Uday says their wives and mothers will, quote, weep blood. Despite its refusal to even...
Will Saddam Hussein fight at the border or pull back to fight in the streets of Baghdad? Will he try to survive or attack with chemical weapons and try to go down as an Arab martyr? Only he knows for sure. But former CIA analyst Judy Yaffe says, one way or another, the man she's analyzed for so many years will try to kill a lot of Americans.
I think his theory is, I will do as much as I can to make it as ugly as possible for the Americans. I still believe that they have a Vietnam.
Will shortly address with a speech, with an important speech in this fighting day, in this great day. and let us pay attention to that. With a speech, with an important speech in this fighting day, in this great day, and let us pay attention to that.
Announcing that Saddam Hussein will shortly go on TV, and these are the pictures. That is what Iraqi TV, I don't know if we can get back to that, it is in a sense a sort of remarkable scene that normal TV programming is going on in Iraq as they await the president of the country to announce that the country has been attacked by the United States. Nick Robertson, are you able to hear me now?
I hear you just fine. Indeed, the broadcaster giving the message that President...
Iraqi TV, you know, I suppose it is in some ways fitting that, here we go.
20th of March 2003, corresponding to 17th of the Muharram of 1422 Hijri. The criminal, Junior Bush, committed, he and his aides, his crime that he was threatening Iraq with, and humanity as well. His criminal act comes from, and the act of...
Because they will. This is not Kuwait. This is Iraq. This is Baghdad. We Iraqis know how to fight in the streets. Those Americans can't handle this.
Military analysts say the Iraqi leader may order dams breached to flood the Tigris and Euphrates river plains. Some believe he may force thousands of Iraqi civilians, women and children out onto the roads, creating a human buffer between the Americans and his forces.
To buckle to U.S. demands.
They are deceiving their soldiers and their officers that aggression against Iraq and invading Iraq will be like a picnic. While this is a very stupid lie they are telling their soldiers, what they are facing, it's a definite death.
At a hastily called extraordinary session of Iraq's National Assembly, the sentiment just as defiant.
وهو مستعد لكل التضحيات وهو مستعد لكل التضحيات.
We are ready for all the sacrifices required for the legitimate defense of our land and principles. And the fate of this aggression which they talk about will be the same as before in history. And history will show their failure, disappointment, and will be a curse on them.
As it has so many times in the past, the Assembly sent a letter of solidarity to President Saddam Hussein. For most here now, the waiting seems to be over. The already visible signs of increasing security, an indication of how the war will begin. Hard to tell at this time how it will end.
Maybe.